Imagine two neighbors each with a beautiful garden. One neighbor grows the best mangoes you have ever tasted, while the other grows the most delicious avocados. They could try to grow both fruits themselves, but their soil and skills are specialized, so they make a simple deal. They agree not to charge each other for sharing their produce. This way, both get to enjoy the best mangoes and the best avocados without any extra cost or hassle. This is the fundamental idea behind a free trade agreement, or FTA. It is a pact between countries to lower or remove the barriers like taxes, also known as tariffs and quotas, that make it expensive and difficult to buy and sell goods across their borders. It's an arrangement based on a simple yet powerful premise. Let's make it easier for all of us to trade what we do best. Sri Lanka's journey into free trade began in earnest with its closest and largest neighbor, India. The Indo-Lanka Free Trade Agreement, signed back in 1998, was a landmark deal. It opened the door for Sri Lankan businesses to access the colossal Indian market. Imagine a small Sri Lankan spice exporter suddenly having the ability to sell its cinnamon and pepper to millions of new customers in cities like Mumbai and Delhi. This agreement was designed to be asymmetrical, meaning it gave Sri Lanka more advantages and a longer timeline to adapt, acknowledging the vast difference in the size of their economies. It was a strategic handshake across the Palk Strait, one that promised to deepen economic ties and foster regional cooperation. Following the path forged with India, Sri Lanka looked to another key South Asian neighbor, Pakistan. The Pakistan-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement came into effect in 2005. This agreement further diversified Sri Lanka's trade relationships, providing another significant market for its goods. A significant recent addition was the agreement with Singapore, a modern and comprehensive FTA. This deal covers services, investments, and intellectual property. It signals Sri Lanka's ambition to become a more integrated player in global supply chains. Looking to the future, the dragon in the room is China. One of the most significant benefits of free trade for Sri Lanka is the direct impact on exports and jobs. When tariffs on Sri Lankan goods are lowered in a country like India, those products become cheaper and more attractive. A Sri Lankan apparel factory that makes high-quality shirts can suddenly receive larger orders from Indian retailers. The owner needs to hire more workers, more sewing machine operators, more quality checkers, more packaging staff. Employment grows beyond the factory itself. Logistics, transportation. Free trade turns international markets into engines for domestic job creation, providing livelihoods for thousands. Beyond creating jobs, free trade brings more choice and affordability to the average Sri Lankan consumer. Before an FTA, imported cars often carried hefty taxes and felt like luxuries. Removing taxes can make cars accessible to middle-income families. The same for kitchen appliances and fruits and vegetables. Competition from imports pushes local firms to improve quality and prices. The marketplace fills with more options at better prices. FTAs also attract foreign direct investment. Foreign firms may build assembly plants in Sri Lanka to serve the region. That brings foreign currency, advanced technology, and modern management. New factories create jobs and pay taxes that fund public services like schools and hospitals. For a tea producer in the central highlands of Sri Lanka, this meant another major market was now open for business. These bilateral agreements with India and Pakistan became the cornerstones of Sri Lanka's trade policy. The story does not end there. Sri Lanka has continued to expand its network of trade partners. For Sri Lanka, linking its economy with a global financial hub like Singapore offers a gateway to the wider ASEAN region. FDI helps position Sri Lanka as a competitive manufacturing hub. Increased trade fuels national growth. More exports earn foreign exchange and help stabilize the currency. That lets the government afford essential imports like fuel and medicine. Export growth raises corporate profits and incomes, which raises tax revenues. A virtuous cycle. More trade leads to more business activity, which leads to more jobs and income. Ultimately, free trade agreements are built on the principle of comparative advantage. This is an old economic idea, but a simple one. It suggests that countries should specialize in producing the goods they can make most efficiently and trade for everything else. Sri Lanka has a world-renowned reputation for its Ceylon tea and high-quality apparel. It makes economic sense for Sri Lanka to focus its energy on mastering these industries and selling them to the world. While the promise of free trade is bright, the path is not without its obstacles. Imagine a small, family-owned business in Sri Lanka that produces biscuits. It may struggle to compete with a massive, highly automated biscuit factory in a larger partner country. That factory can produce goods at a much lower cost. When cheap imports flood the market, smaller local producers can be pushed out of business. That leads to job losses and economic hardship. This requires the government to provide support, training, and financial assistance. Help vulnerable industries adapt and become more competitive. Another significant hurdle lies in non-tariff barriers and bureaucratic obstacles. Overcoming these hidden barriers requires constant negotiation and strong institutions. Ultimately, free trade must grow the economic pie and ensure everyone gets a fair slice.